I'm born ready. Next Gen Hotels, here we go.
Tom, thank you so much for having us down. We've been to many cool locations, but I think you've just taken top spot by bringing us to the Royal Mansion at Atlantis The Royal.
There's nothing like it, Mark, and a real pleasure to be able to welcome you here.
Yeah, it's incredible. I want to kick it off, Tom, with a quick question. What does hospitality mean to you?
Well, hospitality to me comes from the heart. It's about welcoming. It's about truly taking care of people and bringing them into the womb of care. And really, I think what this team here at Atlantis The Royal is achieving is exactly that. And it goes way beyond that. I think it's about really delivering a service before people have even imagined that service, to be an expectation. So I think from that point of view, that's really what this team is aspiring to do. We're fortunate that we have an incredible asset. We have a resort that is just from an architectural point of view iconic and very unique anywhere in the world. But then we have the addition of the selection of celebrity chef restaurants. We now have the largest collection of celebrity chef restaurants anywhere on the planet, really in one location, right here at Atlantis in Dubai. But then there's the wellness component with Aeon Wellness, with the Awakened Wellness brand. There is the entertainment component as well. And then we have this incredible range of rooms and suites, which the Royal Mansion would be the prime example of, for example.
Yeah, no, it's one of a kind. And I remember living in Dubai, we watched this building go up and used to look at the original Atlantis come up the Palm, and you couldn't think there'd be a bigger hotel, and then you look to the right and you see this piece of art. So it's amazing to be in the top room. I want to go back to the start of your career, Tom, because many people will know you today and will look at you as the managing director of Atlantis The Royal, and it is probably one of the top jobs in hospitality around the world today. One of the reasons we do this podcast is not just for industry colleagues to hear about their friends in the industry, but it's also to inspire younger people to get into the world of hospitality. And someone listening and watching to this today, seeing where you are today, I think it'd be really interesting for them to maybe go back to the early days and, what was your first step into hospitality, and maybe take us through a few of the roles you've had before joining the Atlantis.
Absolutely. Well, when I was probably about 14 years old, I was really amazed by what particularly the restaurant industry was doing back home in Belgium and France. And I signed up for hotel school during an open door day at probably the top hotel school in Belgium, in Bruges. And at that particular moment, my parents thought it was a really bad idea and said, well, what are you doing? That may not necessarily be the right career for you, and so forth. So I started really in the heart of the house, and I started with the opportunity at the pot wash. And so, which is kind of, I was a tiny little guy at the time, and started there. And after a couple of weeks, my parents thought I was not going to last for more than an hour. But after a couple of weeks, I was somewhat promoted, and I was allowed to start washing dishes. And then I was promoted again and was allowed to start peeling potatoes. And then I was promoted again and started to peel carrots. And really, my career started in the heart of the house, in fine dining restaurants in Belgium and in France, 1, 2, 3-star Michelin restaurants, and it truly allowed me to understand hospitality from the inside out, and it gives me such an appreciation for what our team is doing every day, whether it is the housekeeping team, whether it is the stewarding team within a larger organization, and the amount of work and dedication that goes into creating great guest experience in the front of the house. So I grew up in these restaurants. I then went to hotel management school in Belgium, and started a career initially in Brussels in food and beverage management, front of house, heart of the house, and then moved here. I actually moved to Dubai and was working at the very first five-star hotel in Dubai in the mid-90s, and how proud and exciting to see how Dubai as a destination has grown and continues to grow. And I was then working and living around the world, and have been blessed to actually live in places where most people dream of going once in their life. And came back 4.5 years ago after opening and running resorts and hotels in different parts of the world. Southeast Asia. I was in the United States for a while. I opened some resorts out in the Maldives, transformed a destination on a private island in Hawaii, the island of Lanai, and just very excited to be here and having been part of this opening of Atlantis The Royal, which truly is a project that comes along probably once in the life of a hotelier.
I can imagine. Interesting enough, the Silken Berlaymont in Brussels was my first placement.
Well, here you go.
You remember the hotel. But we finished on the opening of Atlantis The Royal. I think anyone listening and watching wants to dig into the opening, and I mean the opening event. So what can you share with us about that in terms of even just like interestingly the logistics? You know, you have a certain amount of rooms, you've got probably celebrities who all maybe think they're the top, and even giving them certain types of rooms and who gets what category and logistics of the night. Like, talk us through just that whirlwind and also maybe the excitement / nerves of the team that you lead.
Absolutely. Well, it truly was a once in a lifetime event. And since we've seen over 55 billion impressions online about the opening of Atlantis The Royal, and truly the who's who in the world, whether it was in the fashion industry, whether it was in the sports industry, whether it was in anywhere in the world, really attended. And I think the best way to sum it up was that there was those that were in Dubai celebrating the opening of Atlantis The Royal, and then there was everyone else. And so truly we had this experience that will likely never be repeated, and it was an entire weekend of celebrations that truly were able to showcase all of the food and beverage and restaurant offerings we have, whether it was events at Nobu by the beach. We that same weekend also celebrated the opening of the new Nobu Dubai at Atlantis The Palm. We had private events with Kendall Jenner, for example, at Cloud 22 to launch the 818 tequila. We had private events that were taking place in and around the property, and then ultimately we had this amazing evening with Beyonce and the performance that took place in the heart of Atlantis The Royal, followed by the Swedish House Mafia performance, as well as an incredible firework performance and drone performance that was seen probably from everywhere in Dubai and way beyond.
It was probably the most famous hotel opening ever, I would say. And you've kind of talked us through the impressions, but moving on from that, how do you keep the momentum and the hype going from such a large launch into then, I won't call it the monotony of the day-to-day, but listen, the day-to-day then happens a few weeks later, and the fireworks fizzle out and life goes on. So how do you lead that and keep the momentum?
Well, we opened a few weeks later to the public and ensured that from day one we were going above and beyond from a service level, and we had been preparing for years in terms of creating extraordinary experiences, you know, from a restaurant point of view, from a wellness point of view, entertainment point of view, and so forth. So a lot of thought process had gone into that, in the training and into the development of the team to really have that experience from minute one. So when that first guest walks into the building, that they have an incredible experience. And that certainly has been the feedback we have been receiving from the guests. But it takes the entire team to deliver that service in every interaction. And so we worked very closely together with Forbes Travel Guide, for example, in terms of training and development of our team. But it's allowing the team to be themselves. It's allowing the team to deliver that service and to empower the team to go above and beyond, depending on what they find out about the likes, dislikes, preferences of that guest. And that may be the reasons for that guest visiting us may be very different, right? From one guest to another. One guest may be on a family vacation, or the next guest may be celebrating a particular anniversary, or they may just be wanting to come and experience Atlantis the Royal. And so there's many reasons why guests choose to stay here, but ultimately it's about understanding what that guest is looking for, and then allowing the team to not just deliver what's expected, great, luxury service and so forth, but really kind of digging into that experience and providing intuitive service, whether that is in the guest room, whether that is in celebrations that may take place in the restaurants, by the pool and the beach. Yeah. And it's all about those surprise and delight moments. And that's really kind of where that started. And we're given this incredible canvas to paint great service. And so we have the asset, we have this opportunity with the team to go above and beyond, and that's certainly, I think, if we now look back just over a year that we have been open, and to see all of the awards and nominations and so forth that are streaming in, is really testament to the dedication of the team. Yeah. And it also has provided a lot of confidence to the team to ensure that they not only made the right decision to join Atlantis, but also that they can grow and develop a career with us, and also that they made the right decision to be with us, and that they are part of something quite unique in hospitality industry that will really fuel a fantastic career.
You mentioned a canvas, so I know there's lots of numbers online, and please share what you can share, whether it's the amount of pools there are, the amount of rooms, but if you can get to the numbers of what does this canvas look like. I'd also love to know how much did it cost to completely build, because there's numbers out there, but please, from the ground up, can you talk us through what this asset actually entails and what's included in it?
Absolutely. Well, we have 2 kilometers of beachfront here at Atlantis. We're fortunate to have our Atlantis the Palm, the original hotel that really where it all started. But also we also have the Aquaventure water park, which today is the largest water park in the world, with over 100 slides and attractions. And then we have the latest edition, Atlantis The Royal. Atlantis The Royal has 795 guest rooms, 17 new restaurants and bars. We have 92 pools in and around the building. Have an incredible range of suites with the Sky Pool villas, 6 signature suites around the property. We have the Aeon Wellness as well as Awaken Wellness with 15 treatment rooms, an incredible hammam experience that we have on offer. So there's not necessarily one way to describe this destination, right? We're an accredited zoo. We care for 30 dolphins and 6 sea lions, and so there is many different aspects to Atlantis. But coming back to Atlantis the Royal, it truly is a destination, and it is truly where people come to entertain and be entertained, and it is all those ingredients in one. Coupled with the lineup from a retail point of view. We were talking earlier about Louis Vuitton, for example. Well, this is a rare scenario whereby there is a Louis Vuitton store at at the resort. But we couple that with experiences, for example, the collaboration we have today in terms of the 1-year anniversary of the hotel, where they have brought, in collaboration with Atlantis The Royal, their favorite mascot, Vivian, who is on a very, very first trip out of Paris, and she's coming to Dubai. And so we have these 6 larger-than-life statues of Vivian in and around the property, and it's about Vivian experiencing the resort. So we have Vivian the lifeguard, Vivian the jet setter with the Pharrell Williams sunglasses, we have Vivian on rollerblades in the lobby, and it's about creating not just a collaboration between ultra-luxury hospitality as well as the very top-end luxury retail, but it's about creating a virtual reality around that. And so guests are actually coming to experience Vivian at Atlantis The Royal. But beyond that, it's about extending those type of experiences to the guest rooms and suites. It's about bringing the retail experience to the guest with Graf, with Valentino. It's about partnerships, for example, with the Dolce Gabbana and Unas, whereby we have a pop-up in the lobby, but then that also relates directly to what we're doing at Cloud 22. Cloud 22 is a 90-meter pool, suspended 96 meters in the air, which just this incredible view across Dubai and across the Gulf. And we have right there this partnership with Dolce Gabbana, which just has been a home run from day one, whether it's the towels, whether it's the menus, whether it's the cabanas that are just kind of creating a great different experience. And truly, again, I think if we look at World's First, again, it's a collaboration that is the very first sky pool in the world to have such a connection between retail and pool experiences, for example.
It's such an array of reasons why you would stay here. If I was to look at a comp set in Dubai, because at the end of the day, Dubai is probably the #1 market for 5-star luxury in the world, I would say. And
absolutely.
Listen, you can maybe add in some, but off the top of my head, like Bulgaria, Mandarin Oriental, Burj Al Arab, maybe Al Nassim, and a few more that will come. I would then put, Atlantis The Royal in that. Would you agree? Would you disagree? Are you in a comp set of your own? Is that how you view it? Or are you aware that, listen, the market is competitive. We have a comp set, and this is how we differentiate ourselves.
Right.
Talk me through kind of how you think about that from the top.
Well, I believe what Atlantis The Royal has done is it has truly once again put Dubai on the map, and Dubai truly as a destination is going from strength to strength. And as we now look at Atlantis The Royal, what we hear constantly from our guests is that they are coming to Dubai because of Atlantis The Royal. So these are maybe guests that may not have considered the destination in the past, but because of the experience that is now here and that is being provided at Atlantis The Royal, they now have chosen us as a destination. So it puts us in a very unique position around the world. And I think it truly has to do with all of these elements that we were talking about earlier. Yes, it's a phenomenal product, from a room and suite point of view. But then you add on that collection of celebrity chef restaurants here at Atlantis Dubai. We're now adding 2 restaurants with Bjorn Franzen at Atlantis The Palm, for example. We are also continuing to evolve already at Atlantis The Royal in terms of what do we do next here from a food and beverage point of view, and stay tuned, there is more to come on that. But then ultimately it's about that wellness component, it's about the entertainment component, it's about truly listening to what our guests are saying and delivering against that.
Okay. But do you think, is it a new type of guest? Like if I was looking at the Burj Al Arab or the new Dorchester Atlanta as someone who had that spending power, is it a different type of guest that comes to Atlantis The Royal? Are you competing for the same guest?
What we see already today, we have guests that are on their 9th visit, their 11th visit with us. And for us, it's about kind of creating those experiences where even if a guest will go and try something else, they'll miss us. and they'll want to come back. And that comes through creating those bonds and creating those connections, those human connections that are going beyond the walls of Atlantis The Royal. And I think that's really about seeing now that guests are not just coming once, but they're coming back. And we see a return ratio at Atlantis The Palm, for example, of 30%. And we are very quickly seeing that return ratio increasing already at Atlantis The Royal after just a year of opening.
Atlantis as a brand was always to be the destination of the location it's in. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, absolutely.
What was the thought process around, I think the Atlantis The Palm was always such an iconic building and still is today, but to put one so close beside it, like was there a sit down with the pros and cons, and like has it been a benefit? Has there been some learnings that we didn't see that we'd take some guests away? Like what were maybe some of the learnings going into the unknown of launching one right beside it?
Absolutely. Well, if anything, the resorts really are complementing each other very, very well. And what we are seeing is that there has actually been very few guests that decided. We did not see any dilution of the business. If anything, what we saw and continue to see is that it is a new guest coming to Atlantis The Royal, and guests that are here to enjoy the restaurants that we now have on offer. We have over 50 restaurants in Atlantis, Dubai, but also to enjoy Aquaventure and the various adventures we have on offer at Aquaventure, the multiple attractions and so it's about the destination, and if anything, Atlantis The Royal has really added onto that.
Okay. No, listen, I can imagine so. And one of the things that I have a little bit of a gripe with as a resident in Dubai, and I'd love to see how you manage it here, is as residents, people will come to the hotel and they'll book a restaurant. But as a guest staying at the hotel, I feel as a guest I should have first right of a seat at the restaurant.
Absolutely.
But in a lot of hotel restaurants across Dubai, as a guest, sometimes if you don't book, like I'm a last minute booker, so I'll arrive at the hotel, unpack my stuff, and then I'll look for dinner. And they're like, sorry, we're full.
Yeah.
And if you look at the numbers, a lot of that seats are from residents who are coming in or people who are staying in other properties or Airbnbs. So like, how do you manage as a luxury property, making sure that your guest who's paying a very high price in one of your rooms still gets to eat in your restaurants? Because I can imagine it is a problem and a challenge.
I think it's a beautiful opportunity for us to prioritize our hotel guests, right? Who have chosen us as a destination and so forth. But having said that, I think as a destination from a dining point of view, we certainly see guests from around Dubai, whether they're resident or staying at other properties and so forth, that will frequent us. And particularly if we look at the lineup of celebrity chef restaurants, we have restaurants, where we see 50 to 70% of guests at the restaurant that will come from somewhere else that may not be resident hotel guests. But it's a very fine balance, and it's ensuring that we will always have those seats for the hotel guests and make the necessary reservations and so forth, but also continuing to be relevant into the marketplace. So I believe we have found that balance with the team, and we're certainly very sensitive to that.
Brilliant. If you were to look back, are we coming up to the year anniversary? Has it happened?
We are already a year
already there.
Yes, absolutely.
Can you share, and not all positive, because I'm sure as launching an incredible building like this, there was some learnings, there may have been some mistakes, some things that you've grown as a leader and like an experience that you've had for the first time. So can you share some of those, as well as, give us the highlights? But please do also share some learnings, because I think that's where people will certainly learn the most from that.
Absolutely. Well, some of the learnings, for example, is that we have to listen to our guests. And so we have this incredible product But what we're seeing is that our guests are first buying suites, and so we continue to evolve our suite product. They're buying suites first before buying king rooms, for example, and so we certainly are delivering against that. And beyond that, we also continue to evolve from a food and beverage point of view. So we were talking earlier about the addition of the two Bjorn Franzen restaurants and at Atlantis the Palm, but so are we evolving our product, whether it's from a retail point of view, whether it's from a restaurant point of view. And so we continue to listen to our guests and really deliver against that.
Sorry, on the suites bit, so you thought that more people would start at a king room and go up, but actually more guests want a suite first.
Correct.
So you have too many king rooms versus suites?
Correct. And so
how do you change that as a property that's built?
Well, no, because you can make the necessary adjustments within your inventory.
Okay.
And I think it's about understanding the market today. When we look at the occupancy rate of our Sky Pool villas, for example, which is an incredible product, right? You are floating in your pool, 43 stories up in the air, right? And you have this incredible privacy, yet this incredible views and so forth. And so we certainly we already have 102 suites and certainly see that demand there. So it's a matter that over time you can certainly make those conversions. But I think overall, if we look at what are some of the successes, well, I think some of the very early successes were the Michelin Awards. Where it wasn't just Dinner by Heston Blumenthal having the Michelin star, but beyond that there was recognitions by Michelin for the opening of Ariana's Persian Kitchen, Lamar, Milos, Nobu by the Beach, and so forth. And then beyond that, the recognitions of Goemio, and these were more not just directed at the particular restaurants, for example, but were more very specifically going to people. Christophe Devoile, our executive pastry chef, was Pastry Chef of the Year by Goemio. Jonathan White, the head of Dinner by Heston Blumenthal. It was about being the sustainable kitchen offerings as Atlantis Dubai as an overall organization. It was about the 3 talks at Dinner by Heston Blumenthal with Goemio and having 4 talks with Oceano at Atlantis the Palm, for example. But it's what these awards are bringing confidence-wise to the team is really what is a very important point here, because when we were recognized as the only hotel in the Middle East in the world's 50 best list, that just is an incredible testament to what everybody is doing every minute of the day to create those moments. And so whether we look at world's 50 best, whether we look at Michelin, whether we look at Goemio, or whether we look at Forbes Travel Guide, each of those are references to quality, but are also references to our dedication to service excellence. It is very rare for a hotel anywhere in the world to be able to achieve in a number of years the 5-star award with Forbes Travel Guide, for example. And it is somewhat unheard of to be able to achieve that in the inaugural year. Well, this team achieved it within the inaugural year and at the scale of Atlantis property. And so we're very, very proud of the team and all of the achievements. And yeah, this is just the beginning.
No, and congrats on the World's 50. It was an amazing inaugural year to launch that. It got so much press. I think everyone had heard about it. What do you think is unique about, because I'm surprised there's only one hotel on that, firstly, from this region, but what do you think is unique about, I was just in London last week, let's say, and at the New Peninsula and a few other great hotels like the Dorchester, but what's unique about Dubai and hospitality that you've seen in comparison to other cities? Because there's just, I feel anyway, just there's something unique about this city when it comes to hotels and hospitality. Like, what is it from your perspective, who's worked many more years and been in the industry, and seen it at the top? What's unique about Dubai?
I think Dubai as a destination has so much on offer. I think it's the accessibility, first of all, from around the world. I think it's certainly, if you look at the within the hospitality sector, you look at the offerings from a luxury hotel point of view. It's the dining scene, and it's about the innovation and the hunger for creating experiences that are really seen nowhere else in the world. And I think if you put all of these elements together, you have a winning, you have all the winning criteria there that truly are not just putting Dubai on the map, but continue to challenge in many ways what traditional hospitality stands for.
Okay. I want to finish up on Atlantis The Royal we're in the Royal Mansion. I would imagine, based on the figure we talked about, which was about $100,000 a night, it's up there with probably the most expensive hotel room in the world.
Right.
So people who will never be able to stay in a property like this, what does $100,000 a night get you at the Royal Mansion?
Well, excited to be right here and give a glimpse into to Atlantis, the Royal's mansion, and I think it truly is one of a kind. It's a one of a kind suite in a one of a kind building, and truly it starts with the level of service. Really, it's you have your own elevator, you have the pre-arrival experience whereby we would understand all your likes, dislikes, preferences, and so forth, and really play into that in many ways. But then beyond that, we have this incredible suite here. So it's a 4-bedroom suite that can extend to a 20-bedroom suite. You have your own Louis Vuitton ping pong table, which we'll adjourn later on to. But it's about this gorgeous Majlis area. It's about, you have your own kitchen with not just 24-hour butler service, but your own culinary team that takes care of you right here at the Royal Mansion. You have this incredible views, whether it's across the Gulf or across the Palm. You have your own pool, and so you have this full privacy and this incredible suite that's over 1,100 square meters large, and so it truly is a very unique offering. I'm very proud to be able to give you a glimpse into that today.
No, I've been in a lot of suites, but I think this definitely takes top spot. I'd like to move into a final few ones, Tom, and you're at the very top as a leader, but I'm sure when you went through the ranks, you may have had mentors, you may have learned stuff from mistakes, but if you were to give some advice, a couple of pieces of advice to younger people going into the industry on the learnings that have allowed you to have a successful career, what would those learnings be that you'd pass on?
I would say go for the challenges, go for the unknown, and challenge yourself and understand at any given time what are maybe those areas you are less comfortable with, and start honing those skills and challenge yourself in such a way whereby you continue to grow. If you make a mistake, that's fine. Just don't make it a second time, and really learn from the people around you. I think we're in an incredible industry whereby it's a people industry. We work with people for people, and anywhere along the journey of my career, I have been very fortunate that there was always someone who gave me a chance and said, well, he's learning, he's going to make mistakes, but he's willing to learn, he wants to grow, and so forth, and I think that's who we are. And I think very much, in as we all grow up in our career, giving those opportunities to people and being able to grow and develop yourself, to me, there's really no better industry than the hospitality industry to be in. And but you have to be willing to take those challenges. You have to be willing to grow. You have to be willing to make mistakes and learn from them. And yeah, to me, being off service and creating memories for guests and working with people, for people, there's really nothing better from that I could ever think of.
Amazing. And I'd like to finish on a positive. So I'll ask one thing, which is more about the industry we're in today. If you were to the things that maybe you think about proactively, where you're like, this could be an issue in a couple of years. How do I think about this? So some challenges, basically, you think the hospitality, not specifically Atlantis The Royal, but the hospitality industry. Any particular challenges you think we're facing? I know in Europe, for example, labor is becoming a big one. So anything that keeps you up at night?
Well, I think in general, look, I strongly feel that true service and great quality experiences will always be sought after, and as we and I do hear comments in the industry about having challenges to recruit people and so forth. But I think us as leaders in the industry to be able to share our journey and to share the many career paths one can have, whether it is in restaurant operations, whether it is in the culinary field, whether it is in public relations or finance or marketing or sales, that one can have within the field of hospitality. There is so many different avenues that one can take whilst traveling the world, whilst being exposed to working and living in different cultures and enriching yourself personally through that avenue. I think, to me, I think we have a responsibility to give back and to entice the next generation and to showcase what an incredible career opportunity hospitality can be. And I think each of us in hospitality has to carry that forward and has to create those opportunities for the next generation.
Yeah, no, so in essence, you think some part of that challenge might be getting that younger generation into the industry,
yes,
and
explaining, explaining the opportunities that exist out there, and that maybe take away, some of the perceptions that may exist of, I can only be a dishwasher. Well, first of all, I took great pride in being a dishwasher, and it's one of the places where I learned the most and actually set me up for success in my career.
Just on that bit, so just as a leader, and I know like let's say the younger generation now, them peeling the potatoes, or like I remember I used to do the onions in Brussels, and your eyes would be dripping until the chef told you how to cut it properly, but he made sure the first week you didn't know how to cut it properly. But like we were willing to do that, and like we wanted to earn our stripes, and we wanted to do the 12-month placement, so we had an opportunity. Whereas now I feel like some people maybe think that's below them, or they want to climb the ladder a bit too quick compared to like when you started out and these were the jobs you had to do. How, as a leader, do you manage that to make sure that they stay motivated, they stay inspired, but they also get the grounding that is needed?
Right. I think it's about setting the expectations, and I think there's not one path. There's many paths that one can take in their careers, but I think it's about setting the expectations and setting somewhat of a timeline against that, but also kind of allowing the learnings to take place, and really everybody has their personal journey of growth and development, and Rome wasn't built in a day, and so it's about coaching and guiding and so forth, and it's about really keeping that learning channel very much alive. I'm learning every day, I'm growing every day, and I make an active effort to learn and grow and to ensure that we then also share that knowledge with the next generation of hoteliers.
Final question, another piece of advice I want you to leave listeners with. I think you are operating, let's just say it, probably the number one hotel in the world right now, certainly in terms of recognition and everything to go with it, and you're leading it. So if you're a let's say there's a hotelier back in Ireland or London or Belgium or France listening, and they are going to be in awe of this property and the position you're in.
Right.
If you can kind of, detail a couple of takeaways of advice you'd have for them on how to give a truly exceptional service that doesn't require the Royal Mansion or the incredible staff you have here, what were those like pieces of advice that they could take away from your learnings dealing with the best property on the planet right now?
Right. I think true service comes from the heart, and I think if one is proud to be of service, and if one is proud to wanting to create memories for guests, whether that's in the restaurant industry or whether that is in hospitality or luxury retail or a water park, it truly is about that hunger of creating experiences that will last a lifetime. And by doing that and by instilling that sense of pride in yourself, I think you are on an incredible journey yourself, because as we look at where we live, how we live, the experiences we ourselves as hoteliers are exposed to, it's just an incredible ride, and I would recommend it to anyone, and I certainly feel that it's worth the journey, and that it's worth the dedication. But yeah, I would say go for it and come to Dubai.
Yeah. One more question. Atlantis, the future. What do the next few years hold for the group as a whole?
Well, we continue to evolve, right? So we spoke about the additional restaurants at Atlantis The Palm and Atlantis The Royal. It's about the entertainment components. So we, in the coming month, for example, are welcoming Martin Garrix, for an incredible performance here at Atlantis Dubai in just this phenomenal live concerts series that is taking place. But it's about us continuing to listen to the guest. It's about us setting the stage for great success going forward. And it's about us being always evolving. And I think that's one thing that we continuously hear from our guests, whereby they're not only coming back, but they're coming back and always seeing something different. And they're seeing new, innovative concepts and changes for the better, and so forth. And that truly is what brings people continuously back to Atlantis. There's always something new. There's always great activations taking place, whether it's from a luxury retail point of view or from a dining point of view. And so there's so many different opportunities why one would come to Atlantis. And I think that's really what it's about. It's about us continuing to be on the very forefront of luxury hospitality, not just in the region, but in the world.
Yeah. Well, Tom, listen, thank you so much for sitting down with us. Congratulations on everything you achieved. Really appreciate it.
Really appreciate it.